Hey there, welcome to the channel. Today I want to comment on the Defeat the Mandates protests that are going on in Washington, D.C. today. I just really want to make this very clear. I feel very strongly about this, that I definitely am against these mandates. I think it's just quite honestly shocking that people are even proposing these mandates that are trying to enforce this on people. So this is what's actually happening. These mandates are the new Jim Crow laws. Now, the Jim Crow laws in the South were these laws that were created to literally create segregation between people of color and everyone else. And you had separate, places to sit at restaurants, separate, sitting at the back of the bus, separate water fountains, all these different things. These were codified in what's called the Jim Crow laws. And it basically is discriminating against a particular group of people. In this case, it was Black people. They were being discriminated against. Okay. That's exactly what's happening now. It's no different. It's no difference at all. We are creating laws that say if you don't get the shot, then you are not going to be able to participate in society as a whole. Depending on your situation, you're going to lose your job. You're going to get fired. We are going to demonize you. And we are going to basically prevent you from participating in society. We're not going to let you go to restaurants. We're not going to let you go to concerts. We're not going to let you go outside. We're going to just demonize you, and we are creating second-class citizens. Now, what I find fascinating and scary about this is that we are deliberately doing this. The government is deliberately doing this. They are deliberately passing laws to create a specific group of second-class citizens, and they seem to think that this is justified for some reason. And the same people that are doing this, Joe Biden, in particular, has gone around and talked about how he is this great person for the civil rights movement. Well, how is this any different from the civil rights movement? It's not. It's really not. This is the same thing. It's a group of people that are being discriminated against for whatever reason. In this case, it's medical status. In the past, it was because of the color of your skin. But the net effect is the same. You're being demonized, you're being excluded from society, and that's exactly what's happening. And it's exactly what these mandates are doing. And that I cannot imagine how anyone can think that is justified. That is obviously wrong. It is obviously wrong. I just can't understand it. Now, someone may come back and say that, hey, but this is different. This is something you have a choice. That was something where, oh, your race or the color of your skin, and that's something you can't change, and you were discriminated based on that. And this is something totally different. This is something that you can just do, and it's safe and effective. Well, first of all, one important thing to understand about this is that any medication anywhere, listen to any drug ad, and there's tons of them on TV for anything. There's all these RA medications, this medication, that medication, any of those, listen to them next time. And you will hear that they will list a whole bunch of warnings. They will list a whole bunch of conditions and things to tell your doctor, or things they'll just outright tell you, if you have this or that, do not take this drug. They will tell you that. Why is that? And these are drugs that are FDA approved. These are drugs that are proved safe and effective for the thing, but yet they're telling people, if you have this, that, or the other thing, don't take this. Well, why is that? That's because it's very simple, because even though it may be safe and effective for most people, there's always going to be someone who their biology, which they can't change, the makeup of their body, is going to have a reaction or a problem with the drug. So do you think that's any different with the shot? Do you really think it's any different? The answer is no, it is not. You can look in the information on them, and they will warn you about various things. I mean, the main one is if you had an allergic reaction to any of the components, which could be the preservatives and all the other stuff that they have to put in there, then don't take it. Okay, so now what do you do about those people? What do you do about those people that it's either way, it's legitimate. It should be your choice. But even if you said, well, the only reason you couldn't take it is because you actually have a medical condition that prevents you from taking it, what do you do about those people? There's no exception made for this. They are still being demonized. Think about it. It's still like, okay, even if you have a condition where you will die, you know you have an allergy to one of the components of it, and you will die, you're still going to be discriminated. This happened in the hotel in Washington where I was watching, and it's like, okay, if you don't have the wristband, if you didn't have the shot, you cannot go to the restaurants. You can't go to the bar. So it's discrimination. You're being treated as a second-class citizen, no fault of your own. What do you do about that? Obviously, to me, this is obviously wrong. And this is not something that's made up. This is a fact. All medicines have this. Anyone telling you that that's not the case, that vaccines are somehow different and there's no problem with them, they obviously are not being truthful. That's not the case. The final thing to understand is it's really a bigger issue, is sovereignty over your own body. Look, I mean, I don't have a choice whether I get a medicine or not. So you're going to hold me down? You're going to hold me down, strap me down, and jam the needle in my arm? Is that what you're going to do? Does that sound right at all? So we have no sovereignty over our body. But here's the most important part of that. The reason this concept of sovereignty over your body, where this really came in, was after World War II. And there was, read about it, there was horrible things done by these bad people in Germany and also in Japan as well. Horrible experiments that doctors were doing on prisoners, that were doing on the people that they had in the camps. Horrible experiments. They were just torturing people. And after that, that's where this international law was created to say that, hey, this is wrong. You can't force people to take a medical procedure. And why? Why? Because after the horrors of the experiments that were done on people, on Jewish people, by the German people in World War II, and then also the Japanese also did this as well. So if you're sitting there and you're saying, well, no, because this is so important that we must make you get it, that you do not deserve the right, you shouldn't have the right to sovereignty to your own body, you're agreeing with the doctors that did those horrible experiments in World War II. You're agreeing with that. That's the argument that you're using? Think about that. Take a deep look inside and think about that. You're agreeing with the horrible human rights violations that were done in World War II to justify your mandate. If that's the way you look at it, there's not much I can do for you. I just want to make it very clear from my perspective, and I'm sure I will lose viewers and I'll be demonized for this. I just want to make it very clear that I'm against the mandates. I've laid out my reasons why. It should be really obvious to anyone, but common sense and obviousness are not very popular right now. So that's it for this one. Bye.